Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Ashby.
Present.
Councillor Askew. Councillor Atterwill.
Present.
Councillor Bambridge.
Present.
Councillor Burt. Councillor Borrett. Councillor Bowes. Councillor Brame. Councillor Brindle. Councillor Bushell. Councillor Marion Chapman-Allen. Councillor Sam Chapman-Allen. Councillor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Clausen. Councillor Cowan.
Here.
Councillor Crane. Councillor Dale. Councillor Dowling. Councillor Duffield. Councillor Dygan. Councillor Eagle. Councillor Gilbert. Councillor Gray. Councillor Hambidge.
Present.
Councillor Harvey. Councillor Hewitt. Councillor James. Councillor Jeremy. Councillor Kiddell. Councillor Kiddle Morris. Councillor Kybird. Councillor Land. Councillor Martin. Councillor Monument. Councillor Morton. Councillor Nairn. Councillor Nunn. Councillor Oliver. Councillor Plummer. Councillor Sherwood. Councillor Suggett. Councillor Taylor. Councillor Terry. Councillor Turner. Councillor Webb. Councillor Wickerson. Councillor Wilkin. And Councillor Wilkinson.
Are there any apologies?
Thank you, Chairman. I have apologies from Councillor Askew, Councillor Borrett, Councillor Bowes, Councillor Morton, Councillor Nunn, Councillor Terry and Councillor Wickerson.
Are there any other apologies? Thank you. Item 2 is to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of February 2023 on pages 4 and to 46 of the agenda pack. Are you all in favour? Great. Any abstentions? Item 3, to ask members if they have any declarations of interest in anything that is on the agenda. Right, moving on. Well, let me say by saying good morning, everyone. Today, I address the last full council meeting in my capacity as chairman. The next time I address this room, I will be handing over my chain of office to a new chairperson in front of a newly elected council. I am therefore humbled to share with you that for the last 12 months, it has been an absolute pleasure to work with everyone in this room. Every one of you has worked hard to represent the residents and promoted Breckland, highlighting the amazing work of our residents, encouraged our fantastic local businesses, and to share stories about unsung heroes who work in our community every day. I thoroughly enjoyed fulfilling my role as chairman, and I sincerely thank you all assembled here today for your support. I would also like to mention Councillor Keith Martin. Keith has been a member of this council for 40 years, and he is standing down in May. I would like to thank him on behalf of this council and the residents of Breckland for his devoted and unstinting service to the residents of his ward and the wider Breckland community. I would ask you to join me in wishing him well. For those other members standing down, I would also like to thank you for your service to the residents of Breckland. It has been a roller coaster year. Shortly, one of my last duties will be to honour the celebrating the coronation of King Charles III. However, I will forever be moved by the passing of the Queen Elizabeth II, our monarch for the last 70 years. Her steadfast duty and service to the UK and the wider Commonwealth countries simply has no parallel and will be an inspiration to generations to come. I have witnessed many changes over the last 12 months, not just locally, nationally, and also globally. I therefore want to thank the work of my council colleagues and officers who have supported me through this period. Their dedication, professional advice, and support is something I will remember fondly in the years to come and be forever grateful. I would like to offer one special public thank you to Teresa and Joe from Democratic Services Team, whose invaluable diary management has arranged my events that have meant so much. Since becoming chairman in 2022, I've been dedicating in promoting the district of Breckland and the tremendous work taking place every day to support residents, especially the most vulnerable. One of my main drivers as Breckland chairman has been to shine a light on an army of often unsung community heroes. These heroes do not wear capes, but they share their expertise, empathy, and the most valuable resource in the world, their time. Whilst fulfilling my chairman duties, I have been honored to meet these heroes like this every day, and I'm in awe in how their drive, passion, and commitment has often moved mountains and changed lives in our community. I'm once again humbled to say I'm joined today by Tim Owen, a member of one of the Three Dads Walking and supporting Papyrus, which is dedicated to the prevention of youth suicide and the promotion of positive mental health and emotional well-being in young people under the age of 35. And we have sadly started to see numbers of suicides for people of secondary age, school age, increase. Their mission has recently been highlighted in Parliament, with MPs debating whether suicide awareness should be added into the national curriculum. It's something I wholly support. Papyrus are one of my nominated charities this year, and a charity close to my heart for personal reasons that go back generations. I therefore want to urge everyone here to visit the Papyrus website, contact Tim, and challenge yourselves like our Breckland community heroes and see what you can all do to support them in whatever capacity possible. I want to conclude my speech with a very special and personal thank you for one final unsung hero who has been at my side throughout my career in the police, the armed forces, and in local government. Sue, my wife, has been a true rock throughout my career, an amazing woman whose support and advice and encouragement has been immeasurable. It's been a real team effort, especially over the last 12 months. Thank you, Sue. I would now like to invite Sue, Teresa, and Joe to come up to receive a small token of my appreciation for their support this year. Their support has been truly invaluable. Come this way, please. Sue.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Joe. Say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Teresa. I would also like to thank two ladies who helped at my civic event and to ask them to accept a token of appreciation. Julie, if you could come up, please. Alison. Alison, can you come up, please? Thank you.
Look at me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You both made a terrific difference to the event. Thank you. I would now like to invite Tim from Papyrus and Victoria Johnson from Norfolk and Waveney Mind to come up and receive a donation check from the fund which we have raised money for. Yeah. Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you can see, it's £1,310. It is not the full amount.
That's amazing.
There's more to come.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Look at me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words? Care to go to the lectern?
I'll make it very brief. Just a quick thank you so much to everyone involved with raising this money. It will go to helping people all over Norfolk and Waveney, including very much in the Breckland area. The growing need and demand for mental health support is very apparent to all of us, and everyone is very aware of that, and we're striving to meet that demand and support everyone who is needing that support as thoroughly as possible. So this money will really help to do that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for all you are doing.
Thank you all. I'm humbled to be here. It's kind of 3 years nearly to the day since we lost Em, and to think that we've making this difference locally. Em was a local girl. She went to college in Durham. This thing we're making this difference nationally is incredible, and this will go directly to Papyrus, to their life-saving helpline, Hopeline UK, which is just about to go 24/7, which is all about preventing young people taking their own lives. So thank you for your support.
That concludes my final public speech as chairman. I can't think of a better ending to finish on. Thank you. Item 5, leaders' announcement.
Chairman, thank you very much for the introduction and for setting what I think is a really important scene for your stewardship over the last year and the incredible work we do with partners across the district. As this is the final council meeting of the current political term, I thought it would fit in to reflect on some of the wider position of the council and some of the things we've achieved over the last 4 years, supporting both residents and businesses. And we've shown in inaugural occasions that Breckland Council is a council that cares, and your stewardship over those last 12 months have been that ambassador with organisations up and down, not just the district, but the county. And I'm delighted that shortly we'll have the opportunity to show what a difference this council is making to some of our residents most in need when the Princess Royal comes to Thetford next week. Princess Anne is coming to Elm House, where she'll find firsthand how our £1.8 million investment has enabled an award-winning refurbishment to take place on and brought a site which was disused back into community use. But more importantly, it's not just around those bricks and mortars of Elm House, it's that wider support programme we're delivering for those residents in that community, supporting those 35 people who find themselves in need of temporary accommodation. And whilst their chairman on the Elm House site, Princess Royal, also have the opportunity to look at that move on accommodation. And once again, it's not just about those bricks and mortar and the roof, giving that security over those people's heads. It's around that wider support programme being able to offer to those residents for that time they reside in that move on accommodation, which is really important to make sure that we're continuing to work in partnership to support those who need it in most. And I'm really pleased the work we've done with Broadland Housing in relation to that. Breckland Council is there for residents, and in a few weeks, the representatives from this council will be going down to London to make the case once again why Breckland Council, compared to other colleagues across the country, is supporting those most in need for our Inspiring Communities programme. That £1 million programme, Chairman, has already been recognised for its exceptional work, and of course we'll tell the judges how we've achieved that, not just through our stewardship and the work we undertake as Breckland for our officers, but also more importantly work along partners in the National Health Service, the charity sectors such as Mind you've heard today, delivering the very best, that holistic care to those residents to help them access mental health support, tackling domestic abuse, reducing social isolation, reducing loneliness, and helping those individuals overcome financial difficulties. Areas of the council where we don't traditionally get involved as district councils, but where we, as members of this council, decided to get involved with and make a difference. And I know everybody in this chamber has had the opportunity to see the difference it's been made in their communities, supporting those most vulnerable. Over the last term, Chairman, we've invested heavily in our communities up and down the district, in towns and villages. And most recently, we've announced that 41,000 grant funding, bringing the total release funding to the lifespan of the Inspiring Communities scheme to £300,000 of Breckland direct investment. That on top of the extra hundreds of thousands of pounds, which has therefore been match fund to enable those community groups, those organisations to go from strength to strength. And as you said earlier, Chairman, through the work you've done, recognising those unsung heroes who are doing incredible work across our communities. And that's on top of the hundreds of thousands we've invested in our communities through our Market Towns initiatives, helping deliver programmes such as the Queen Mother's Garden refurbishment in Dereham, which was officially opened last week. This is about Breckland Council providing money for localities to decide where it's going to be best spent. Not us, we're enabling others and doing that in partnership. Breckland Council is here not only to protect and enhance people's lives, but their livelihoods too. And with that in mind, we've overseen our ongoing growth of Breckland and the safeguarding of jobs. And most recently, Chairman, we had the completion of the new power substation in Snetterton, which I was at with colleagues earlier this week, which enabled existing businesses to grow, but also the opportunity for new businesses to come to the district to create new jobs and new opportunities for local people. And we've produced perhaps the most comprehensive plan for the district for our future Breckland district activity, providing that really clear narrative, not through us, but through what the communities wanted, both residents, businesses, charities, and organisations, to make sure we are providing the services and the support they need. We've developed that blueprint for Breckland and secured the support of partners across the district and the region to make sure that we've got that Thriving Places agenda at the heart of what we're doing, trying to get better jobs, improved rates of skills, creating those opportunities for everybody in our district for generations to come. And as part of our 2035 commitment to promote that sustainability, I'm delighted today to announce a brand new strategic partnership with the National Trust. This will see the council planting thousands of trees in partnership with the National Trust across the district, where a brand new forest will be created later this year. And I'm really grateful to Councillor Crane and Councillor Sherwood for the work they've done in moving that forward. This is about joint working once again, not about Breckland doing it in isolation, but working with those subject matter experts to make sure we're delivering the National Trust agenda around 20 million trees across the country. We've had the pleasure recently, Chairman, of welcoming back the Local Government Association peer review team to carry out that independent health check on how we as an organisation operate. And I'm pleased that Breckland Council has passed with flying colours. The report from the peer review team noted that we're making great progress has been made and that Breckland Council has increased the level of organisational maturity, which shows to me that we're on a very firm footing as we move into the next term of this council's history. And it's just the peer reviewers who see the councils positively. It's everybody who they came into contact with, not Breckland officers and Breckland members, but everybody we do businesses with, both business, residents, the third sector, and everybody else. And the results of this, Chairman, is been supported by the most recent resident survey. Nationally, around 6 in 10 people say that they trust their local council. but in Breckland, that level is about 80%, a significantly higher increase than the national trend. Similarly, residents reported higher than average satisfaction with the council, which is phenomenal results and highlights just how valued the work this council has been doing over the last couple of months and years, and the difference that we've been able to make for people, with people and businesses. Finally, Chairman, with just 6 weeks to go to the local elections, I wanted to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all members of this council, regardless of your political background, for your hard work and contributions. The positive debates we've had, making sure that the executive is held to account, but more importantly, making sure that we're driving forward the agenda which the residents and businesses want us to do. And your dedication to your communities shouldn't go unthanked. And I once again echo, Chairman, your thanks to Councillor Keith Martin for 4 decades of incredible support and being a community champion. Regardless of your standing again in May, I wish every member of this council the very best of luck, and thank you all for your dedicated service to local leadership and your local communities. Thank you.
Item 6, there were no questions under standing order number 6. So I will move on to item 7, questions without notice under standing order number 7. Questions to be directed to the leader or relevant portfolio holders. These questions can relate to the leader's announcements and any supplementary questions to the questions on notice and any questions without notice in line with standing order number 7. Councillor Oliver.
No, Jeremy.
Sorry, Councillor Jeremy.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I start, Chairman, by thanking you and everyone involved in delivering the Chairman's reception last week. It was a very enjoyable evening, as I'm sure all of us there will agree. It was a particular honour for me to welcome you and the Council to Thetford, and also to the ward that I represent and a community that I'm particularly passionate about. So on their behalf, Chairman, thank you. My question I'd like to direct to the leader, if I may. Sam, I was very pleased to be out in Watton last week, meeting hard-working Breckland residents based at the Serco depot. As you'll be aware, they're campaigning for improved pay and terms and conditions. During the time that I was with them, they mentioned how pleased they were that they got the chance to speak with the leader of North Norfolk District Council, but were saddened as Breckland residents that their own council leader had not met with them. Sam, when will you be meeting with them, please?
Thanks for the question, Terry, and I'm pleased that through the industrial action which took place last week, that we were able to keep up with all of the activities and collected all bins at the required time by close of play Friday. I'm sorry that the ongoing industrial action has taken place and that those individuals are concerned at the current rate of offer which has been offered by Serco. I did receive the communication from the union on Friday evening. As you know, Terry, much like yourself, I have a busy active diary both professionally and privately. I have met Serco staff on numerous occasions over the last couple of months. I'm happy to do so. I know that my colleague, who's the cabinet member responsible, went down to the depot on Friday to meet with staff on my behalf and the council's behalf. As you are well aware, the Serco staff are not the employees of Breckland. It would be inappropriate for me to intervene in relation to that, but I'm happy to work with our contract managers and the senior officers at Serco around any concerns or issues they have. And once again, implore any Serco staff have any concerns around the terms and conditions of where they are today, where they think that myself and the chief executive can raise those with Serco, continue to do so. I have had written communications with some residents, some employees of Serco, which I've replied to in writing to respond to those.
Councillor Atterwell.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is for Councillor Webb, if I may. Thank you. Yesterday, you sent us all a copy of the Health and Wellbeing Partnership strategy for the next 2 years. The document, as I'm sure you'll appreciate at the moment, is quite light on detail at the present time, but it does list a number of action headings. When can members expect to receive the detailed action plan for each of these points? And one area of concern that I had reading the document specifically mentions housing and mentions adaptations to facilitate independent living. The Cabinet Member for Housing informed the Overview and Scrutiny Commission yesterday that in 2023-24, without any additional government funding, the available funding will be somewhere between 887,000 or 1.9 million short of what is required, depending on the inflation. This obviously is going to be short of what's needed to carry out the facilities grant work. In light of this, how will the Health and Wellbeing Partnership hope to achieve its strategy in this area?
Thank you, Councillor Atwell. Well, I'm really pleased that you've managed to have time to read this, because I only sent it out yesterday afternoon. So I appreciate the fact that you've took time and interest into actually what we're doing. I've always tried to be upfront with what we're doing with the Health and Wellbeing Partnership. It's a large group of 30 people, if not more, and sometimes it can be difficult to get everybody to agree. However, I think achieving this partnership agreement, this strategy, is a good step forward. It's not the end by a long chalk. There's a heck of a lot of work that's got to be done and rolled out from this strategy. It's you're right, there's issues which we need to look at. All these statistics were backed up with evidence from different areas, different people, different organisations. And what I want to do is over the next, well, I would like to do, if I'm re-elected, I would like to be giving quarterly updates to all members about how we're doing against our strategy and the action plan. So I can't give you the answers because the strategy's just been developed. We know there's areas that we've got to look at. However, as I said, at the end of the day, a quarterly report will be sent to all members. And of course, I'll be welcoming any questions on it from that point. Your question about DFGs, I'm not possibly the best person to talk about, but it has been one of the issues raised. And as I said, I can't comment at this point, but we will be getting back to you. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. For 4 months now, I have been trying to arrange an officer briefing to discuss particular details of our Bretland 2035 programme. Last week, I was told that the executive officer was handing over the portfolio to another executive officer, and it would need a couple of weeks to get up to speed. Now, this delay is removing the ability of meaningful scrutiny on this incredibly important council policy. But to drill down to some detail, on the 8th of December, a question by Councillor Morton about how we address the carbon sustainability of Attleborough's new leisure centre, leisure facility, were conflated with financial sustainability by a cabinet member responding to that question. On another occasion, 9th of February general purposes, another member talked about pushing the Bretland 2035 programme further on. Now, to be clear, officers have indicated that they have not found that narrative on their side, but nevertheless, these have been expressed in this chamber. So I'd like to ask you, Leader, if you and Cabinet are fully committed to the Bretland 2035 programme, or has it been secretly watered down or abandoned so that we're not going to meet our zero carbon commitments that were previously made?
So in relation to the question, I wasn't aware that you've been attempting to have meetings with officers for the last 4 months, Councillor Burt. As always, the officers are one side of the organisation. You're welcome to meet with myself or the relevant cabinet member, and I'm not aware you've requested such meeting with those politicians, which is frustrating and disappointing, because if you had, we would have been able to give you an update. We are absolutely committed to 2035 and the sustainability, and you heard earlier in my chairman's speech some of that partnership work, and we're doing with organisations across the district to drive that forward, and some of the activities which you'll have seen in the press around some of that infrastructure and changes in the High Street of Swaffham, as an example, working with partners such as Norfolk County Council and Historic England. Some of the wider activity around EV chargers and what we're doing in relation to our car park solar panels in this building and other assets across the portfolio are absolutely moving forward. You'll be aware that there have been some changes in relation to staff employed by Bretland. Some are no longer with us, they've moved on to pastures new. So there will always be a slight transition period, and I'm sure you'd accept that through your experience in industry. But I understand you've got a meeting with the director in the next week or so to discuss where we are to date. So hopefully you'll have a full appraisal and update of where that is. And if you're seeking re-election post-May, then you'll be able to hear the work which the administration of this Conservative Council is taking forward post that time to make sure that we're still delivering on 2035.
Councillor Rodri.
Thank you, Chairman. Question for the leader. The leader will be aware that Norfolk County Council hasn't appropriately consulted district councils so far over the matter of devolution, and indeed has taken an inappropriate process so far in terms of its consultation and also its procedural processes internally. I wondered if the leader could update us on what's occurring in relation to devolution and what meetings or other communications he's had with the leader at Norfolk County Council in terms of trying to rectify the failures to date.
Thanks. In relation to county deals, as colleagues will be aware from the questions previously raised in the scrutiny function, the decision around county deals sits solely with Norfolk County Council. It is not a decision of Breckland District Council. We are not even a statutory consultee. We are just a normal consultee. And I'm pleased that we were able to take through at the last cabinet meeting Breckland Council's response to county deals. Where we are as we move forward, myself and Councillor Clausen as my deputy have attended the regular Norfolk sector, public sector leaders board and Norfolk leaders meetings in which we've had those relevant updates. Our position as Breckland has still been clear around the process and the current governance structure and those opportunities as we move forward. You'll be aware through the briefings, through the update at this council around the pre-action protocol, which we were signatories with 3 other councils in Norfolk. That is still in date. For us to move forward to judicial review, it'd be for the council to decide. That will be a formal decision, but I am in still close communications with colleagues across Norfolk and members of Parliament to make sure we get the best possible outcome for residents and businesses, to make sure that we get the best structure in place and are able to deliver upon government's ambition through the devolution agenda, but more importantly, the levelling up agenda. I know that colleagues across this political chamber are supportive of the work myself and the Chief Executive have done to date in relation to holding the County Council to account. And I thank members of this council for the work they did in the scrutiny function under your stewardship when the county leader attended. I think that was a really good session in which you were able to raise those concerns. We will still move forward to make sure we get the best possible outcome, but I don't know what that looks like. And it will be for the new council post-May at the next council to decide what further legal action, if any, it may like to take against the County Council in relation to its current activity for the county deals.
Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question for Councillor Webb, please. As we come to the end of another 4-year term of office, could you give members just a couple of examples of where a grant from the Inspiring Communities Fund has made a big difference to those communities? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Those of you who were at Cabinet last week will have seen the delight on some of the recipients' faces when they were awarded grants from us. So we should be very, very proud of what we're doing. It doesn't stop there, though, because we don't just give out the money and don't check whether things have been done, whether it's made a difference to the community. I'll give you a couple of examples, as you know, as I said, you've asked for. The one that we did in round 2 is the horticultural industry scheme, and that was funding ex-offenders, homeless participants to complete 15 further garden transformations for vulnerable residents. The update is those 15 have been completed and also another 10 visits, which is really good because it's encouraged people to get out there and help others. And the grant has also supported them to gain additional training in areas such as renovation, pruning, slab laying and lawn care. So it's really given homeless and ex-offenders some future for training and for a future for careers even maybe. So, you know, as I said, we're doing that side of things. I'll do one basically also from Durham where I am. In the end of this month, there's going to be a room actually opened in Etlin Grange, which is a result of this funding. The room is to bring people together from bungalows and the care home together so that they're not so isolated. Sometimes in bungalows, people in the sheltered bungalows can feel quite isolated. So it's bringing them all together to make friends, to actually support each area, which is again a good thing. I've been and had a look, and it's wonderful what they've done. I could go on, I'm not going to because I've got loads, but thank you for that, Councillor Turner.
Councillor Kybert.
Thank you, Chairman. Brandon Station, which is actually in Weeting, currently has restrictions due to engineering works, and these in turn involve the listed building status and approval of potential works by Breckland Council. Could ask Councillor Suggett for an update on that position. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So I'm aware that a couple of weeks ago, Greater Anglia came to us to say that whilst doing some works, they had discovered that there were some structural issues that they felt the building needed to be, or the roof especially, needed to be partly demolished. We went out on site to have a look at what they were suggesting, and we have pushed back on the report which was submitted and refused them consent to do so. Whilst on site, we went with conservation architects from Save Britain's Heritage, who also viewed the building and had the same view, and have suggested that the issues are not as detrimental as what Greater Anglia had suggested, that they were more localised, and a solution is being worked on. They have since put a crash deck inside so that further inspection can be made, and we are hopeful that when we receive the next submission from them, that it is something that we can support and grant them consent to do the works needed, rather than what they initially came to us with. So it's all safe. The remit is under the health and safety remit, sits with them, with Greater Anglia, but we are working with them to resolve what they would like to do. Thank you.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll just, I've got a question for Councillor Bambridge, but if you'll just indulge me 30 seconds, I'd like to just say to you, it was an honour to be asked to be your Vice Chairman, and we not only represented and promoted Breckland across Norfolk, but we travelled into Suffolk, Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire, and as far afield as Staffordshire. So I just thought I'd mention that. It's a great honour. Thank you. Gordon, Councillor Bambridge. Breckland recently put some grants forward for the handyman person service, which I feel will support the independent living programme, and it's very important because this will help the NHS to discharge patients and residents in Breckland across into their own homes, and it will also help to keep residents in their homes if these adaptations are made to their homes. Could you tell me if this programme has started, please?
Thank you, Peter. Yes, I can. The scheme actually kicked off last week. My understanding from officers, and I haven't had full reports for the start of it yet, but my understanding is that within a couple of hours of the scheme coming live, as it were, with staff employed by Breckland and in the building, we were starting to get inquiries from members of the public. The scheme, as you'll remember, and other councils will remember from earlier meetings, is that we received a grant for around £80,000 for this, which Breckland Council, this council, allocated an extra £50,000 to it. It is limited to small grants. It's limited to getting people out of hospital, getting people at home who couldn't be at home. So it involves simple things like putting up a grab rail, for instance. I mean, no construction under the rules of this grant can cost more than £500. And I think most of them are going to cost a great deal less than that. We're talking about 100-200, something like that. It also involves getting shopping in, turning people's heating on, and all those sort of things that residents of Breckland who don't have immediate family living close by these things stop them coming into their homes again from hospital, and it keeps them out of a care home. And if we can do that, this is a very good thing. It is, of course, mostly administered by my colleague Alison Webb's department. She actually heard of it. I think the management of it actually comes through my department, housing, which is why it was there. I think it's an excellent scheme, and it's something that Breckland has actively supported. It is now working, and I'll be very pleased as soon as I get a report to push it through to you and any other member who's interested in what's going on. Thank you.
Councillor Kittle.
Thank you, Chairman. I've got a question for Alison, Councillor Alison Webb, please. Can you tell me, please update me on where we are with the Mindful Towns training and accreditations, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, some of you might have seen the recent press release, which is coming out, or maybe not yet. I know it's been approved. The idea, sorry. Oh, good. Well, we're doing all right then if we're actually doing stuff. And sorry, I shall carry on. Basically, the idea of Mindful Towns, for those of you who don't know, is it recognises the high level of mental health support across Breckland. We recognise in Breckland that there are issues out there and there is support that's needed. And we kicked off, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now, and we've basically got Mindful Towns. For every town in Breckland has achieved this. We should all be very proud of this. 300 volunteers from over 100 organisations have been trained in mental health education, and we've run 22 courses. Well, I mean, as I said, this doesn't mean that they're going to be experts in mental health and be able to deal with a lot of the problems, but what they will know is how to ask the right questions. And when they get the answers, then where to refer them to if someone needs extra help. So thank you for asking that question. It's a really good, as I said, it's a really good thing, and I'm completely behind it. I'd like to say that as well as the market towns, there's also Swanton Morley and Necton that have been accredited with Mindful Villages. So well done to them as well. Thank you very much.
Councillor Plummer, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for Councillor Bambridge. I saw in the press last week that the new house has been opened in Thetford. Are we going to continue doing other schemes in other places on this idea? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Plummer. Yeah, pleased to be able to answer this, especially with Elm Road. I can remember way back when, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, when we started talking about buying the old school in Elm Road, and it was a bit of a struggle for us to actually get that underway. There was some resistance to it, but eventually we did. And everybody knows, as the leaders already referred earlier this morning, that we're getting a special visit there later on. And I can remember being involved in that from the very earliest days, sitting on a small committee with Councillor Cowan and Matthew Hogan, if you can remember him, but they were going. And then, of course, the team came up with this idea that we should build these new moving on houses in Thetford. I'm very supportive of moving on houses. We have problems, as most of the country have, with homeless people, and moving on is a real step, because it takes people who are absolutely homeless and puts them in somewhere where they can go on. And yes, we are moving ahead. I know we're looking at several sites, which I can't mention at the moment, but you will know that there is a site fairly close to you, because it's in Dereham in Quarry Court, where I think we've managed to do a deal on 11 similar units, and these will have people moving in them. I don't know quite how many are occupied at the moment, but I think it's 9 or 10. So we are well on the way, and I'm looking for other opportunities. If any member has a place in their ward that's suitable for such accommodation, or for converting to an HMO or anything like that, then please let me know, or the office team, what's going on. Thank you.
Councillor Dale, please.
please. Another question for Councillor Webb. I'm sorry, you're having a busy morning. We all know the good work that the DAISY programme does, but unfortunately the police have removed their funding, which means they've lost a full-time member of staff who it's really detrimental to their clients. Is there any way Breckland Council can help? I know we already fund them, but I don't know if there's any way we can help bridge the gap.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. Well, as you know, or probably maybe don't know anyhow, I'm going to say it, is that DAISY has a lot of posts funded through a number of different sources. And yes, I understand what you're saying about it. Our funding, however, supports the core services to residents. But we are speaking with the police and the Crime Commissioner Office about the Norfolk Integrated Domestic Abuse Service, as they also fund DAISY. So we are aware, we are pushing to actually make sure that everything's okay, and we will be reporting back at some point if you'd like further information. Thank you, Councillor Dale.
Councillor Land, please.
Thank you, Chairman. This has been addressed to Councillor Banbridge. I was concerned to hear from yesterday's Scrutiny Committee meeting that applications for disabled facilities grants continue to increase. Officers confirm there is insufficient money available to meet demand. Could the Cabinet member please explain why he refuses to use Breckland Council money to plug the shortfall? Thank you.
Well, I think there are a number of reasons for that, some of which were explained yesterday at scrutiny. I think you have to understand exactly what this fund is. It is a fund from central government. Breckland Council are merely the administrators. We're the administrators because district councillors are, as it were, closest to the ground in seeing it. And this council has a responsibility to administer funds which are allocated by central government. For this council, they come to us, approximately 1.3 million comes to this council from central government through Norfolk County Council. That's the funding we have. There are very strict rules on what and how we can use that, and also penalties for us if we fail to use it accurately. And I did promise one of the members of scrutiny yesterday that I would send them a note about that. And I'm happy for that note to be much more general. Concerning additional funds, well, yes, it is a situation, and I described it in scrutiny as a good news story actually for Breckland, and I still believe it is, because we are one of the very few councils who are spending all the money that we are given. Yes, we are. You can frown all you like. That's a fact. We are spending the money. Now, because we are spending the money more efficiently, because the team upstairs have worked out new and better ways from, say, 3-4 years ago of spending the money, we're managing to get the money out of the door quicker and easier. We, therefore, are running out of money because of the claims that are coming into us quicker, being dealt with quicker. And because of that, we're running out of money. Now, I am applying to the government. I'm applying through our MPs. I'm applying directly to the Department of Local Authorities. I can't think what they're called at the moment. It's levelling up. Directly to the Minister for Levelling Up and other ministers of state. I had an email from one yesterday, for instance, which didn't get me any more money, but at least it proved that we are still talking to them. We are trying to get that extra money through. If we can get it, we can spend it, because we are an efficient council. We're doing things the right way. Now, it was suggested yesterday that this council puts more money in, and that's what do we stop to put more money into that? Because we need around about next year 1.7, 1.8 million, in addition to what we are likely to get. And as soon as I know what we're actually going to get, rather than what we think we're going to get, if it is not sufficient, I will be writing to all of these ministers afresh and again, probably after the election, if I'm re-elected and if the leader has given me the same job. I don't know those things there, but whoever it is in this council will be writing again, because we know, I mean, I feel for all of these people. Someone suggested yesterday I might have been quite hard. I'm not. I get the stories. I speak to the officers who are dealing with people face to face every day. I know what's going on. These people who are my neighbours, they're people who live in
Councillor
my
Banbridge,
ward.
can you wind it up because we're
Sorry.
running short of time? And
I
there are other
do
questions.
apologise, Chairman, but I do get passionate about these things, and I think we're right. I'm sorry. If you want any more information, just drop me a line and I'll answer.
Councillor Clark, this will be the last question, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Chairman. My sort of question, initial comment is actually to, sorry, Alison, to Councillor Webb. Firstly, I'd like to particularly thank Councillor Webb and other colleagues for helping to bring the vision I had a little bubble in my mind about 5-6 years ago about refurbishing the Queen Mother's Garden, and what an excellent job we did. And congratulations to all the team here at Breckland, officers and members who attended and having Lady Dan open, that was wonderful. My question to Councillor Webb is about the Yaxham Road closures, because I know that she will be interested in this, having attended the recent Town Council meeting. And I know that Councillor Webb is using her efforts as possibly a locum Dereham South and Dereham North County Councillor to make representations to the County Council about the road closures. Could I ask the member and possibly the leader and other colleagues to impress on their political counterparts at County Council for local county councillors to make timely and well-informed and proper communications to both ward members such as myself with Burger Ward, which is affected by the closures, but also other relevant bodies, town councils and so forth. I appreciate that's not her portfolio, but I know that she does have considerable influence. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark, and also thank you about your comments regarding the Queen Mother's Garden. It was a wonderful event despite the rain, and I'm glad to see that Breckland and Dereham Town Council are working together, and it proves what we can achieve when we work together. I'd also like to reassure you that you're absolutely right. Highways is not my baby, it's Norfolk County Council's. However, that doesn't mean that I don't listen to what residents say. And I can assure you that both Councillor Digan and Councillor Richmond are onto the case with this. It's been an issue that is causing lots of residents angst, and I know they are highlighting it at the right appropriate areas in Norfolk County Council. So that's all I've got to say, really. But thank you for raising the question.
Thank you, everybody. We're now moving on to item 8.
Mr. Chairman, please. I feel very disappointed that my question is not to be allowed. It's the only opportunity we have as councillors to question those councillors who delegate the decision-making process. I would ask you to consider whether it's an appropriate way for this council to behave.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to confirm under Standing Order 7.1, and I'll read so it's clear. The time period for questions under this standing order shall be no more than 30 minutes. The 30 minutes are passed per meeting, subject to the right for the council to suspend this in accordance with standing orders. So the 30 minutes is up. If members wish to extend it, they'd have to change standing orders for this meeting. So a motion would need to be made.
Thank you. Point of order, Chairman, I'd like to propose that we suspend the relevant standing order to allow the time period to be extended.
Chairman, just to provide further clarity, if a proposal to change standing orders is made without notice, at least one half of the committee present shall have to vote in favour of the suspension. So just to be clear, if the motion is seconded and a vote's taken for the motion to be carried, 50% of the people in 50% of the councillors in attendance would need to vote in support of it.
Second of the motion.
Councillor Jemmy has put forward a motion. Can we have a second for that? Councillor Attewell. All in favour? Those against?
Any abstentions?
Second. Any abstentions? The motion is not carried. Moving on to item 8. Motion failed.
He said not carried, but not was no.
The minutes for information only. If any member has any questions regarding these minutes, please speak now. And that's the planning committee meeting on the 14th of February, pages 48 to 54. And also GP 55 to 58. If anybody's got questions under 86 to pages 86 to 88, we will have to go to Belial. Has anybody got any questions on those pages? Right. Right, those minutes are now noted. Item 9 is the pay policy statement, and could I ask Councillor Jane James, the Executive Member for Customer and Corporate Services, to present the report and then propose and quote the recommendations which can be found on page 59 of the agenda pack.
Thank you, Chairman. So I'm pleased to introduce this report, which seeks this council's approval of the pay policy statement as set out in national legislation. I will now hand over to Sarah Barsby, Assistant Director for People and Governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor James. Under section 38 of the Localism Act, a pay policy statement is required to be produced annually. The statement must be approved by 31st of March each year and published on the website as soon as possible after that date. This has been a requirement since 2012-2013. A pay policy statement for the financial year must set out the authority's policies for the financial year relating to the remuneration of chief officers, the remuneration of lowest paid staff, and the relationship between chief officers' remuneration and that of other officers. Included in our statement is the latest gender pay gap figure, using a snapshot date of the 31st of March 2022. The mean gender pay gap figure of 16% is a slight improvement from last year's figure of 16.6%. That really in a nutshell is what the report is here for, but we're more than happy to take any questions.
Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Chair. Can I take you to page 68, please, up there, which is returning officer fees. The report states that the RO will receive an additional fee for county, district and parish elections, which are just coming up. But there's no indication of the magnitude of that extra fee. So in round terms, what is the additional payment that will be made to the Breckland returning officer?
Thank you for your question. We don't have that information to hand, but we'd be more than happy to share it with you outside of the meeting.
May I just state, Chairman, that the report clearly states that fees are determined by way of a statutory instrument as well, but obviously the officers will support further.
Can I have a seconder for that report, please? Councillor Chapman Allen. All in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you. This recommendation has been approved. Item 10. Councillor Sarah Suggett, Executive Member for the Strategic and Operational Planning, to present the report and then propose and quote the recommendations, which can be found on page 72 of the agenda pack.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm pleased to bring the paper to you this morning about the Planning and Building Control Service that we have had out of contract for the past 14 years. Within that contract, we have the one-time right to ask for an extension 1 year ahead. We need to give Capita notice on that, hence the report coming to us today. Given the scale of the importance that this opportunity gave us, an exercise was carried out to fully understand the options that were available. The options identified were an extension, to re-tender, to share the service, or to bring it back in-house. Various difficulties were highlighted with the options. They included procurement rules, other local authorities' appetite to share the service, it being still quite unflexible, and the market change for outsourcing such products has changed significantly. The recommendation is therefore to bring the service in-house. This would see a natural end to the contract. We took the contract out for 15 years, and that is what we are aiming to do. We will begin the TUPE process, which would see the staff being transferred from Capita over to Breckland. And there will be no redesign initially, but it will give us an option for Breckland to have a defined future fit model in the future that we could start to explore. As would be expected with any long-term relationship, 14 years have shown many ups and downs, but I'm pleased to say that we have a strong relationship with Capita. Nationally, they have provided support and resilience to us over the recent years, which we are grateful for. Locally, we have an exceptional team here in Breckland. They have a great reputation, respect amongst their peers, show great performance, and we have an enviable position regarding recruitment, retention, and development. It's a huge credit to the management team that despite factors such as nutrient neutrality, government white papers, and the update of the local plan, that we still have a team showing such great credentials, and we have a team and service that we should be proud of. And it is this team that we mustn't lose sight of. Despite all the technicalities in the report, we must remember that the biggest impact this will have will be on all of the staff. And I want to reassure everyone that support will be on hand to guide everyone through the process. As outlined in the report, annual savings of around £200,000 should be realised. And we will also receive all future income on major planning applications. The in-house option opportunity to be flexible in developing and improving the service. And as said before, that this will not be the only conversation had on our planning service, but it is an important first step in where we see that service going. I'd like to recommend this morning from Cabinet that the full council, recommendation 1, upon expiry of the initial contract with Capita for planning and building control services in June 2024, that these services should return to the council. Number 2, that the Deputy Chief Executive, in consultation with the Executive Member for Strategic and Operational Planning, is given delegated authority to take the necessary action to formalise the end of the contractual arrangements with Capita for planning and building control services. And 3, the Deputy Chief Executive, in consultation with the executive member for strategic and operational planning, is given delegated authority to take any necessary actions for the return of the Planning and Building Control Service to the council and associated changes in budget and establishment. Thank you.
Could I have a seconder for that? Councillor Kittle Morris. All in favour? Sorry, any questions? Sorry, Councillor Clark, my mistake.
Thank you, Chairman. It's just a comment from me. I'm a long-standing member, not as many as some, but relatively long-standing member of the Planning Committee, as well as being a local resident. I'm very pleased that the service is coming back in-house to a more refocused community-led service. And I'd also like to pay tribute, as I know, to the hard work of all the people in the planning department, the various aspects it has, and look forward to an even better service in the future. Thank you.
Councillor Atterwell.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of points. Sarah, with regard to the future fit part of the process, in relation to item 3 here and the recommendations, will you give an assurance that if we're looking to do something maybe around building control services or something, because there's been some talk about whether that would stay in-house in the future or whether that would be better outsourced, is that something that you will bring back to this council for a decision? So I'd like just an assurance on that, that's not all going to be wrapped up in item 3 here in the recommendations. And also, I'd just like to say, I'm pleased that this is coming back in-house. Anybody knows, I've been a massive critic for the last 15 years of it going to Capita, but I do want to pay tribute to the Director of Planning, Simon Wood, who I have to say in the last few years has been a sort of very approachable and stabilising force in that department. And I think he came in, steadied the ship, and I've been greatly heartened by what the department's been producing over the last few years. Even under the Capita banner. So long may that continue. I fully support this and look forward to sort of moving on to better things when the contract comes to a conclusion.
Thank you. Yes, assurances that conversations will continue. They will, obviously it will be whoever is sitting in this room around the table at the time, but I would like to see the decisions and the what it could look like in the future will be something which we can all take part in, and we'll be coming back here. And yes, to just back up what you're saying about the team, there is a great team there. There is a lot going on. We do expect a lot from our planning team, and the nature of planning, 50% of the people are always going to be a little bit annoyed at you 100% of the time, but like you say, there is a huge amount of credit there in the team that we have at the moment. Thank you.
Councillor Bird.
Thank you, Chair. I wholeheartedly support bringing this service back in-house. I think that's going to come as no surprise to anybody. I've made that position quite clear for a long time. And as far as I can tell, the only difference between us is that you see a budget saving as a possibility here, whereas I would like to maintain the budget as is and actually provide a better service. So perhaps that's something that we might be able to discuss going forward.
Thank you. So yes, the savings which have been identified where and how those savings are spent, saved, whatever, is part of those discussions, like I said, for whoever's in this room at that time when they get realised. But yes, a future fit Breckland planning service is something which we should all be striving for, no matter who the banner is that's sitting around the planning service. But yeah, those conversations would and should be happening. So thank you.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Bambridge.
Well, just a comment, Chairman, that I thought I'd bring in. I was sitting on this council when we signed the Capita contract, and Sue was involved in that, as were many other people. And I have to say, during those 15 years, I've had little to complain about with Capita. I will say, I think the time is right now that we should be going it alone. And I think the decisions that have been made by Sarah and the team have been studying them in detail, all right? And I echo everything that's said about our planning team generally and our director of planning in particular. I think we provide an excellent service, but I wouldn't like to see this meeting go by if we are deciding, and if we do decide to end with Capita, to think that they're going away with no thanks. I think generally speaking, over the last 15 years, with a few minor hiccups, Capita have done quite a good job for Brecon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, there being no further questions, can I ask all in favour, please raise your hand. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you. These recommendations have been approved. Item 11. Could I ask the Deputy Leader and Councillor Paul Clausen, Executive Member for Economic Development and Growth, to present the report and then propose and quote the recommendations which can be found on page 81 of the agenda pack.
Thank you, Chairman. Some of you may be aware the Wayland Digital and Creative Media Centre is an exciting proposal that's been worked on for several years by the Wayland Partnership. It sits in Future Breckland as one of the priorities for the residents and businesses of Watton. I'm pleased that today we can move a step closer to realising their vision. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the DCMC, as it's known, is a proposal for an innovative new business community and leisure destination in Watton High Street, with facilities including flexible office and incubation spaces for startup businesses, training provision for all ages, and an e-gaming arena. As a major piece of regeneration, this would establish a new anchor point at the western end of the High Street, catalysing investment and boosting footfall. There's currently no singular centre in the region that offers the proposed facilities under one roof. And in many ways, it would be a national first. A project of this ambition is not straightforward to realise and will require significant investment. It has already attracted some substantial private sector interest, but more work is now needed to both prove the concept and develop the vision into a full business case. To achieve that, I'm delighted that Breckland Council has been successful in securing 125,000 of funding from Norfolk County Council via its Norfolk Investment Framework, and that's to deliver the first stages of the project. This bid was one of only 12 from across Norfolk that's been successful. The funding will be put towards a year-long pilot project within the existing Wayland House building, trialling the incubation and office space for digital and creative businesses, whilst also delivering training relevant to this sector. Funding will also be used to procure technical expertise to deliver a full business case, enabling the project to be best placed to secure future capital funding. Chairman, I'd like to propose the following recommendations. One, that Council accepts the funding awarded to Breckland from the Norfolk Investment Framework to deliver work that will bring forward the Wayland Digital and Creative Media Centre project. Two, that Council provide delegated authority to the Assistant Director for Economy and Growth in consultation with the Executive Member for Economic Development and Growth to enter into the grant funding agreement and oversee the Wayland DCMC project. Thank you, Chairman.
Could I have a seconder for that? Councillor Cadell. Any questions? Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to thank Breckland Council for bringing this to where it is. Excuse me. This is going to be absolutely fantastic for Watton, and I'm so pleased to represent Watton and be sitting here hearing this, because this is actually going to put Watton on the map if this is agreed. And I absolutely wholeheartedly thank you all for bringing this to where it is. And let's hope. Thank you.
Councillor Eagle.
Thank you, Chair. On the other role, just to elaborate a bit more, it's absolutely fantastic project. And it's so convenient with the siting of actually where the Wayland House is, right past one of the main school routes through to the secondary school, and expand and give that opportunity for people to widen the horizon on the jobs available in Norfolk. I would just like to expand on the gaming and developer sector. There is an annual conference in Norwich just about a month ago, and that takes part of a year, 2-day conference with people all over the UK. But the gaming industry earns more money for the UK than the film industry. We just ignore that. All those little apps and games that we play on our phones, even the most basic ones, earn the money. And the other crucial point to that for the UK economy is it's all paid in dollars. So we are earning foreign currency, and it is way beyond my technical ability. I just do enough to manage to operate that phone. How anyone can do that coding and everything. And if any of you get the opportunity to go to these conferences, understand it more than me, you have got Aviva and other places there instantly trying to headhunt any young people or anyone who has far more understanding than me on that area. But to bring it out to a rural area, to give opportunities for our young people or any age, and actually, well, it ticks my boxes. The high street, footfall for the high street, and anyone that's school children or something should notice it. So fully supported.
Councillor James.
Thank you. I'd like to reinforce that support for the high street that something like this can provide. You may not know that Thetford has played host to an international gaming event over the last 18 months, 3 times. We have had gamers come from across the country, across Europe. We have had international champions hosted in Thetford. And whilst that's a really nice event and they're a fantastic, vibrant, welcoming community, they spend money locally. Local pizza places double their staffing over this period. And we cannot underestimate that circular economy and bringing other things into the area as well. So I'd like to commend this recommendation and say, this is exciting and it hits so many different areas of our communities. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Eagle, again.
Sorry, I apologise. I thought I'd run on too much in the previous bit, and I forgot to mention, I think we should pay credit to Dr. David Dent from the Wayland Partnership and the Wayland Chamber of Commerce. It was initially his idea, and I think we should all be aware that anyone, and that the encouragement that from any sector, you can come forward with an idea and you can take it forward to both your councils in Norfolk and other areas and get those grants. And no one should be discouraged that if they've got an idea for their community, an idea to keep going away with it and plugging with it. And I know over the previous couple of years, myself as a county councillor and the Wayland Partnership covers my villages, and Councillor Bowers, he was straight on it, chasing us to get that. And I don't think what he achieved should be undermentioned. It does need full recognition.
Are there any other questions? Right. Can all in favour please raise your hand? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you. These recommendations are carried. Approved. Item 12. Do we have any nominations to committee or other seats? Paul? No. Terry? Roger? Tim? Amendments to the Constitution? None. There are no other items which I consider urgent. Therefore, I'd like to close this meeting, but I would like to thank everyone who has taken time to watch this meeting via YouTube. I would also like to thank all of you for the support that you've shown me in the time that I've been chairman. I really appreciated it. We've had our ups and downs, but quite honestly, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you. This meeting is now closed.